Most guys are never going to get close to these kind of transformations that you see on the screen right now. Not because of a lack of effort, not because of a lack of discipline. It's because they don't have the roadmap to get there. They don't understand how to get these kind of high level elite transformations from normal guys like you watching this. Dan here in his 40s, in the shape of his life, the best he'd ever look. Stuart here, a new dad who got in the shape of his life as well. And you might be sitting there thinking, why can't that be me? You've maybe told yourself maybe next month you're going to give it a go. You're going to start properly Monday and I'll do it when I've got time. And these guys, like I said, they're no different to you. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly the steps you need to be taking to make this a reality for you, to make this something that you can achieve rather than saying it's something that you want to do. Saying something that actually, okay, I've gone and done it. I've actually achieved the best shape that I've ever been in my life. And if you're watching this, it's because you want to change. You might not have achieved it yet. You may have got close, but this is exactly the phases and the roadmap that you need and you've never been handed that I'm going to coach you through, okay, and show you through exactly their transformations with the calories, the actual weight they've lost, and the process we took them through. Now, all of this starts with the 3 phases. The 3 phases is everything that you need to know when it comes to getting in shape. Now, you'll see on the screen here, we've got 3 different phases that they're going to go through. The first thing is the initial fat loss and priming phase. This is where we're looking to lose the fat. This is where we're getting them to the leanest they've been in potentially months or even years. They're getting them to the point where actually they can start to reverse their calories up and go through to phase 2, where they're going to build lean muscle mass for the first time in their life from the actual position they need to be in. They're not building muscle mass from 20, 25% body fat. They've actually earned the right to build muscle mass. They're going to see the changes finally. They're going to actually see themselves get stronger, see their muscles grow, not just go to the gym and see no change because they're holding a bunch of body fat on top of actually what they need to drop off. This is that most important phase that so many guys skip out once they do the diet. This is key. And then we're going to talk through the photo shoot prep, which is the kind of the absolute echelon of their physique. This is the best they're going to look. This is the final cut, the look that they have always wanted to achieve and see themselves in that position of sub 12%, sub 10% body fat, doing things that most guys will never be able to do. Now, let's talk about actually who has done this and our clients here and show you through exactly the phases they've been through. So first of all, let's look at Stuart here. This is stripping off the body fat 101, 100 kilos down to 84 kilos in 14 weeks. Fantastic amount of fat loss in that time frame. Starting calories sitting around about 2,000, going down all the way down to 1,800 in that time frame. And one of the biggest things in this phase is you need to track data. You need to learn what works and what doesn't. You'll see here throughout this whole phase of Stuart losing this body fat, we tracked every single week, every protein, every calorie, his steps, his training sessions. That's all we cared about for 14 weeks until we lost the weight that was needed to. Average body weight moving down every single week. Some weeks faster than others, some weeks slower than others. But we finally got to that position where he was lean enough in that kind of 190 range, ending calories sort of around about 1,800 at his lowest. That's an example of how that first fat loss phase can be executed, because finally tracking data allows you to see what actually works. We're managing meals out. We're managing social events. We're managing trips away. You can see within this data here, there was a trip where he went to Scotland for the weekend. There was events in there for a week where we took a bit of a break from the diet. You can see his calories came back up briefly here for a week before then dropped back into the deficit. This is that first phase of fat loss, which if you get right, sets you up incredibly well for the long run. And then we've got Dan here on the right as well. A bit quicker, 7 weeks of fat loss, not as much to lose because he was starting from a leaner position. But you can see the difference it makes when you lose a good chunk of body fat. He's gone from 92.4 kilos to 86.4, and he's set himself up incredibly well. Both guys bottom in calories around about 1,800 at their lowest. That doesn't matter though. What you finish on calorie-wise is not what you're going to be on forever. And this is the part which so many guys get wrong. They get scared about the calories going low. They get scared that their food might have to go low for a number of weeks or a number of months, forgetting the phase after, which is where things really start to develop. This is the fun bit. This is where the calories start to come up. This is where you start to build lean muscle mass. This is where you can set yourself up well for that next diet you do, because you're actually building your body back up. You're priming your metabolism again for fat loss. You're putting on muscle that you've not put on before, and you're taking yourself through this phase. You can see here with Stuart, he didn't gain any weight for 10 weeks, reversed his calories up for 10 weeks, building a huge amount of calories over that time frame because he committed to the process. He committed to adding muscle mass. was going into the gym, adding 2.5 kilos, 5 kilos every week, maybe an extra rep or two on his bench press and his squat. And this is the part most people miss. And if you do this correctly, like Stuart's done, he gained no weight, added a load of calories, and we could have gone on longer, but we needed to get back into the photo shoot prep sooner. And it just shows how, when you do it properly, how much minimal fat you can gain while adding a bunch of calories to your physique, and the ability to obviously build your metabolism back up as well. Again, if you look at Dan's numbers here, his lowest to his highest, he gained a really good amount of numbers on the scale, but he got strong. He added 20 kilos to his bench press, and this was done over a long period of time. If you look through this here, we've tracked everything with Dan throughout this phase, where each and every week we were looking at building muscle mass. Every week you could see going through different phases where we would gain weight on average each and every week. We track all of the data. We'd obviously track all of the training, and his calories would be going nice and high through the process as well. And you can see in his photos, he looks bigger. His chest looks bigger. His legs looks bigger. And that's correlating to what he was able to do in the gym as well, because his numbers just absolutely flew up in that time frame. Calories obviously going up to 3,700 a day from his lowest at the 1,800 mark, which he finished this diet on. Just proof that when you do reverse and you do it properly, you can really build lean muscle mass without the body fat that comes with it. And that's just the phase, which before is the next part, which is that photo shoot and that final cut, the one that you are going to look the best you've ever looked, the one that is going to have people questioning if you've been taking performance enhancing drugs or taking peptides. But all you've done is you've just got in the absolute best shape of your life for the first time ever, and you've seen it the whole way through. And this is where you're primed. You're going to see yourself that you've never seen yourself before. You can see Stuart here, 86 kilos, all the way down to 80. And you can see his calories didn't have to go as low. His body weight got lower, but his calories didn't have to go as low because he was a lot more primed in this before going into the diet, because his calories were already starting from a higher position. He had less body fat to lose, and it meant an easier time losing that body fat. This diet was so much easier for him than this first diet that he did here, because he'd already lost a big chunk up to that point. That wouldn't have happened if he didn't do that in the first place. I remember him saying that the diet wasn't as hard, and he just, I mean, it's benefited hugely from it. Look at his chest striations, look at his shoulder striations. It's the best he looked there in that sort of photo shoot diet that he did. And then you've got Dan. Unfortunately, Dan actually had an injury between those two photos of the reverse phase. So for a couple of months, he couldn't really train. But he didn't give up. He kept tracking his food. We gained a little bit of body fat, and his muscle mass retracted a little bit during that time he wasn't training. But once he got back into the gym, you see the transformation there. It's night and day. Like, he looks absolutely insane. And that's because of all of the data that we collected through that process. Not only did we go through that reverse process together, we went through the photo shoot prep every week, tracking the averages, making sure that they were falling on a weekly basis as needed to get him to the end goal of being in photo shoot condition. And over that period of time, dropped off a good chunk of body weight. Wasn't loads, went from around about 95 kilo to 88.8. And at 44 years old, he's in the shape of his life. He looks insane. He looks absolutely incredible. He's got kids, just like Stuart here, who has kids as well. All of the time and excuses that a lot of guys will use to not be able to do something, he put them aside and he just went for it and he did it. And that's the result. And this is the pictures that they now get to look back on when they get to show their kids and their grandkids what their dad or granddad used to look like when they were older. Because this is wicked. Like, this is something which you can have to look back on and be super proud of. The time I lost 20 kilos and got in photo shoot condition, or the time I absolutely got shredded out of my mind in my mid-40s and did this. These guys are not any different to you watching this right now. They have similar jobs. Dan here as a firefighter. Stuart works in London in a busy job. They do normal day-to-day things, but they did something extraordinary because they just committed to themselves, got themselves into a position that they never thought they could. And if you look at this here, you can see how much bigger Dan is next to me as well. Like, this is just the pinnacle of it. And I wish I'd ever got that photo stood next to him as well. This is not a process that happens overnight. This is not a 12-week transformation. These pictures here of these guys going through this huge transformation. Stuart here, that's September to the June of the next year. Dan, this is September to the June of the next year, a couple of years later, because we went through such a big gaining phase. This is what happens when you really go in on yourself and you commit for longer than a few weeks. for longer than a few months, you can see changes that you've never seen before. And the guys we work with are doing this time and time again. I could show you plenty more transformations, and I'm sure I will as we get into more videos at a later date. But I want you to realize that you're watching this, that it's never your metabolism, it's never your genetics, it's never anything like that. It's just you've never put yourself in a position long enough to see the change in the first place. Commit like Dan, commit like Stuart has, and you can see an incredible change that you never thought was going to be viable for you. Now, if you want to run this with us, we can help you through it. This is our highest level of accountability, which Stuart and Dan have been through in our one-to-one coaching, which the link below you can book in and we can have a chat. There'll be no like kind of pressure at all if it comes to signing up to coaching and learning about how it works. If you want to take one of our approaches with our free physique guides, in the bio as well, there is a link to our free coaching where you can go and get a meal plan customized for you, your calories and protein customized for you based on your body fat. And we'll give you training programs on a rough starting point so you can do it on your own. But if you want to fast track that, our one-on-one guidance is the absolute way to go through it. These are just the tip of the iceberg, these results, and we can show you way more, and I will do over more videos. And I hope you enjoyed it, and please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more like this in the future.